Hey everyone, welcome to the online program of Amrita Civil Service Academy. My name is Sibi Joy, and as part of our Mains Master 2020 program, in this video, we'll be having a discussion on social justice. So the question is based on social justice. The question goes like this. In light of the persisting problem of malnutrition in our country, discuss to what extent the National Food Security Act has been a part of the solution. So that is the main theme of the question, which is National Food Security Act and nutrition. So going into the structure of the question, we can break it up into the introduction, the body and the conclusion part. And in the introduction part, we'll be talking about why nutrition is very important. In the introduction, the first part should always be about why nutrition is important, bring about a statistic, what is the present status of nutrition in our country, maybe the global hunger index, something like this will ensure that what is the position of India with regards to nutrition and what is the problems India is facing with regards to nutrition. And you can say how NFSA is acting to combat it in the second part of the introduction. Say this is the position India has in the global hunger index, and you can say NFSA has been aimed towards ensuring that we overcome the difficulties of hunger and malnutrition and ensure that we get zero hunger status in our country. So something like that, where we make a link between nutrition and the NFSA. That should be there in the introduction. In the body, the question talks about how NFSA has been a part of the solution of resolving the malnutrition problem in our country. So first we need to say what is the problem of malnutrition, like how malnutrition has played a big role. So you can say what are the problems of malnutrition. You can follow that by saying why nutrition is so important. What is the impact of nutrition going to do in a country like India. Following that, you can talk about what is the NFSA, a two-line definition of what is the National Food Security Act, and what are the successes NFSA has achieved till now, what we have managed to achieve. You can say that. And once that is done, why is there still hunger and malnutrition present in our country despite an act known as the National Food Security Act? We can talk about the limitations the act has and what is the reason for the still prevalent hunger situation in our country. Once that is done, we can talk about certain remedial measures we can take to improve this and ensure that there is zero hunger. Conclude it by giving a way forward, like any model or case study or some example of how people can make a change and ensure there is zero hunger, and how that is going to lead to a better India or a better world. That is how we can conclude this. Or we can talk about certain government scheme which is also involved in this process. Say that and conclude your answer. Your answer should be perfect. So introduction, we'll begin with the introduction. We'll go with the first part, which is nutrition. Talk about how nutrition is important or a statistic about nutrition. So you can bring that something like the hunger index or percentage of malnutrition. Something like this can be brought about. Okay. So looking at this, we can say that some data can be brought about. Once that is done, we link it with the Food Security Act, which is saying that the National Food Security Act aims to combat this by ensuring that the minimum nutrition needs of the people of the country are met. And you can say give an objective of the NFSA or something to link it with the introduction. So you can say something like this. The NFSA aims to provide subsidized food grains to approximately 2/3 of the population of India. So that is 75% in rural areas and 50% in urban areas. So we'll take that as the objective. So we can say that NFSA Act under the National Food Security Act aims to provide 75% of the rural areas with food and at least 50% of the urban areas with minimum with subsidized food grains to ensure that the 2/3 of our country is safe and to improve India's position in the hunger index, or aims to improve India's population from issues of malnutrition, stunting and wasting. And to substantiate it, you can give an example of the Indian rank in the global hunger index, or you can talk about the situation of wasting in our country, stunting in our country and malnutrition in our country. So something like that, where both of the parts are mentioned in a single 3 or 4 line or even 5 line introduction would be the perfect introduction you can write for this answer. Once the introduction part we've said, we'll go for the body. So we talked about why nutrition is important and how the NFSA is linked to improving the nutrition status in our country. From that, we are talking about what are the problems India is facing with regards to nutrition and malnutrition and everything. So, in the key, you'll notice that India has the highest number of malnutrition people in the world. Nearly 1/4 of the malnutrition people in the world are from India. So, you can say that is a report of the FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization. So, you can quote that, the FAO report, which says 1/4 of the population of the world population are suffering from malnutrition, and they are from India. So you can take that. Apart from that, what else? What else is there? We can talk about how India's position, the global hunger index is 103rd among 119 countries. The global hunger index. So this is also something you can look at. What about this? This is also a problem. What else can we say about what is the gravity of the problems which is present? We can talk about the incidences of wasting, stunting, and which leads to other diseases in the future, like the vulnerability to non-communicable diseases like cancer, hypertension, or even other physical deformities like weak bones. You can talk about how nutrition plays a key role in everything. It actually affects the entire person's lifestyle, and it creates a big problem. You can talk about the gravity of the nutrition problem and how that's going to change. And once that is changed, we can say, okay, we are talking about food security. So to bring about nutrition, we need to talk about food security. And you can say how important it is. You can just link it again by saying we can improve the nutrition in our country. So I was saying that by focusing upon the food security in our country, we'll boost the agriculture sector. Once we boost the agriculture sector, we'll ensure that there is ample income for the farmers. And once there's ample income for the farmers, they are the people who are in most risk of malnutrition. Once the ample income is provided for them, they'll also have the available money to ensure that their families nutritional needs are met. And once we have ample and surplus production, we can control food prices. If we can control food prices, then the common man across India can access the food at a cheaper price or at a decent price, and he will not have to suffer for his nutritional needs. So that is one advantage we can have by ensuring food security. Apart from that, we can also say that it will lead to global security and stability, improved health and healthcare, and even economic growth and job creation, because it will lead to a healthier population, and a healthier population would be more productive. More productivity results in more jobs, and more jobs result in more economic growth. So we can bring all this as part of ensuring food security. So we've established why food security is important. Now this can be a small paragraph after the problems which India is facing in malnutrition. Now we come to the core demand of the question. Now understand, the question talks about how, in light of the persisting problem of malnutrition in a country, discuss to what extent the National Food Security Act has been a part of the solution. So the core concept has been actually about how NFSA has been a part of combating the malnutrition in our country. So we gave in the introduction, we talked about NFSA, and in the body we just told what is the problem of malnutrition and why food security is important. Now we are entering the core part of the question, which is what is NFSA. Now NFSA, you can say by saying it aims to provide subsidized food grains for 2/3 of the population, and the 2/3 is 75% of the rural population, 50% of the urban population. Once that is done, it also includes the midday meal scheme, ICDS scheme, and the PDS scheme. So under NFSA, there are three things: the PDS plus the ICDS plus the midday meal. All this is a part of NFSA. 2/3 population, 75 rural, 50 urban. So you can say that too. What else is there as an objective? Cheap subsidized distribution of rice at prices of 1, 2, and 3. Basic food grains, subsidized food grains at cost of 1 rupee per kilo or 2 rupee per kilo or 3 rupee per kilo. What else? Pregnant women and lactating mothers get the specificity for pregnant women, etc., lactating mothers, etc. Subsidized, it's a all India phenomenon. It's all India. So many things you can say. It's it has nearly an allotment of 11,000 crore per month and a 1 lakh 40,000 crore per year just for the subsidies. So these are data, peripheral data, but please do focus upon the PDS, ICDS, MDM concept, the 2/3 allotment, the 1 rupee, 2 rupee, 3 rupee for subsidized food grains, special consideration for pregnant women and lactating mothers, and the all India nature of this Food Security Act. So you can say these are the major features of the National Food Security Act. Now we can go for the successes. What are the successes that has been come about according to this act? So you can talk about how it's implemented, how many people, nearly 81 crore people get access to this food stuff. It is built upon the PDS system, and since the advent of e-governance, we brought about targeted PDS system. This ensures that the bogus ration cards, everything is eliminated, and we are ensuring that the real needy person gets it. And apart from all this, we also have DBT transfers and end-to-end computerization to prevent leakages. All of this you can say as part of the success. So in your success, you can talk about end-to-end computerization, removal of leakages, the all India nature is something very important. So now any citizen all across India can get this facility. Also with this, we can also talk about how this has been combined under a single scheme of PDS, ICDS and MDM, and how it covers how this has been this has brought about food security because of the minimum support price system. All of this you can say that as part of the success of the NFSA or the National Food Security Act. But so many successes, so many points we've said, but there is still the prevalence of failures or the prevalence of hunger all across India despite the successes brought forth by the NFSA. So what are the failures or what are the challenges in front of India despite the success of NFSA? So one thing is the skewed development in India. So many states do not have equal access to infrastructure. So that is a big problem. Another thing, corruption, and despite the end-to-end computerization, because of the lack of infrastructure, there are still leakages present. So leakages, lack of training to officials, because they are not aware how to use the latest technology to ensure that there is proper implementation, lack of awareness of people, all of this along with climate change, the shift towards high yielding varieties which do not focus upon nutrition but rather towards volume. So you can say about all this. It's all mentioned in our key, but please understand in your limitations they should be there in a large number. It's a 15-mark question. It's a 3-page answer. It's a 3-page answer which you are supposed to write. So in your first side you will be taking the first top half at least for introduction and the rest for the problems, and the second half you will be talking about the importance of NFSA, importance of nutrition. In the second half of the paper, in the second side, you can begin off with NFSA, the success, and in the side of the success, you can draw a tabular column. You can write the success in one side, you can write the limitations in the other side. Once that is done, you can go to the third side. You can talk about the remedial measures. Now, the limitations in success, there are so many. You can just refer to the key because now the board is completely filled. You are going to the remedial measures. Remedial measures, what can we do to improve this situation of hunger in our country despite the NFSA? So what we can do is we need to ensure that there is more crop per drop. or we need to ensure that the productivity of our agriculture increases. We need to ensure that the type of seeds that we are using is not only high yielding but also nutrition rich. This is from the production side. What about from the distribution side? We need to ensure the infrastructure is proper. We need to ensure there's proper end-to-end computerization and the training is given to the officials. So that is on the distribution side. What about from the consumer side? We need to ensure there's awareness to the consumer that he or she is aware of his rights and what he or she is eligible to get. Not only that, in case of any discrepancy, there must be an effective redressal mechanism which can be linked towards this. So when you're talking about your remedial measures, break it up into the production side, the distribution side, and the consumption side. So talk about what we can do in the production, like I said earlier, ensuring high yield varieties and all that, improving MSP so that the people get better, farmers get better income. Distribution side, ensuring the logistics are proper, there is no leakages, and giving ample training to officials. Consumer side, making the consumers or the citizens aware of their rights, an effective grievance redressal mechanism. All this you can say as part of your remedial measures. So apart from this, I've written some more points like saying minimize wastage loss, density of fast price shops need to be increased, diversification of food choices. Like I said, not only do we need quantity but also quality. The nutrition has to be focused upon. Biofortified food like the golden rice etc. can be supplied through the PDS. Universal PDS, which ensures food grains at subsidized price, like in the state of Tamil Nadu, can also ensure that there is reduction in number of ghost beneficiaries, and other alternatives like cash coupons. Another important thing you can say in your remedial measures is the implementation of the recommendations of the Shantakumar committee. So they actually brought about certain reforms on food security. So you can also read up on that and you can also say that. But it is not necessary that you must say all the recommendations of the Shantakumar committee. Just say implement the recommendations of the Shantakumar committee. If possible, you can just read it to understand what are they. So that is what you can say in your remedial measures. But always break it up into the production side, the distribution side, and the consumer side, so that your answer looks much more structured. Always ensure that your answer is structured. And once that is concluded, you can go towards your conclusion. You can talk about in the way forward. You can say effective implementation of these schemes, along with celebrating the Poshan month of September, understanding the importance of nutrition, guiding the families, uh, through schools, through specific training in hospitals to ensure the importance of nutrition, will lead to a country where the incidence of malnutrition will decrease, where the productivity will increase, and it will lead to a healthy society. So we can end it on a positive note, and that is how we can make this answer effective. So it's a 15-mark answer, so you will have to write a large number of points. We have discussed all the points over here. So before ending this video, we'll go for a recap. In the introduction, you give an importance of why nutrition is important, or why what is the position of India, and you can say how NFSA has been linked to improving the nutrition status in our country, and you can just quote any advantage or success of NFSA, and that is how you can make up your introduction. Make sure it's in the 3 or 4 or even 5 line category. Once that is done, you go for the body. You say what are the problems of nutrition in our country and why food security is important. So this has to be managed with a few lines, ensuring that how food security acts towards improving the country as a whole. And once that is brought up, you come to address the main demand of the question, which is the NFSA and its successes. You say what is the National Food Security Act. We talked about its various features. You talk about what are the various successes that has come under the NFSA. You talk about the end-to-end computerization, the removal of leakages, the improvement of the PDS system, the all India nature of it, everything, just say it out. But despite all these achievements, why there are limitations in addressing the problem of hunger in our country. You can talk about the skewed development all across the country, the corruption in it, the leakages, the lack of training to officials, the while the quantity is large, the nutrition is less. All these can be tackled. The lack of awareness for the citizens, the lack of effective grievance mechanism, all of this can be said is part of the limitations of addressing the nutrition in our country. Once that is done, you can go towards what are the remedial measures you can take to improve the Food Security Act and how that is going to lead towards improving the malnutrition in our country. So talk in the model of production, distribution, and consumer side, what they can do and how this is going to impact the nutrition. Once that is done, in the conclusion, say how celebrating Poshan month or the World Food Day or something, that is going to bring about the focus upon nutrition. How training given from schools, from families, from hospitals will ensure that the focus of nutrition is always present in the minds of the people, and this will lead to a society which is more productive and more healthy. On that note, we can conclude this answer, leading to a perfect answer. So that is all for this video. This is CB Joy signing off. Thank you.